Hello and welcome to my channel. I know I look a little bit different today. I didn't go all out with the wigs and, well, I'm wearing my trusty dusty headband wig, but I don't have on like lashes and makeup and all that stuff. And that's because I'm on a little bit of a staycation. I consider it a staycation. I'm just in Austin, Texas. But yeah, I did bring my equipment though. And I said, you might have to make a video or two while you're gone. And that's for two reasons. The first reason is because I'm not one of those YouTubers who, when I upload a video, it automatically gets like 100,000 views. If that would be so nice. Or especially those ones where their videos get like 100,000 views and they're always sponsored. Those people can afford to do like one video every week or one video every 2 weeks. But when you're a middle to lower range view YouTuber like me, you have to kind of consistently make content in order for this job to be worth your time. The second reason why I brought my camera is because I knew there were some issues I wanted to weigh in on, and based on like my energy level and how well they kind of stuck with me, that was going to decide whether or not I decided to actually go ahead and make the video. The subject of this video though has not been able, it hasn't been able to come off my mind. It hasn't been able to come off my spirit. And the internet is not letting it go either. And I'll be honest with you, when I saw this whole situation kind of unfolding, it obviously reminded me of my experience with pretty privilege. And I want to hereby coin the phrase, you've been pretty privileged. And by that, I just mean you have made something, you have said something online that has deeply angered people to the point where your one little video has spread to many different formats, many different forums, and gone viral in many different ways that you did not expect. The subject of this particular pretty privileging was somebody that I've brought up before. She's a young lady who goes by the name of Lip Gloss. I don't know her real name. I don't know if anybody on the internet knows her real name. I've talked about her before because I talked about her when I did my video about like reactions and all that stuff. I talked about the kind of people who are able to, I thought at that time, get away with talking about certain types of content. For example, this is one of her latest videos, and you all know this one from me, right?
Okay, just really quickly, it doesn't take a dummy to realize why, just even if you look at those two thumbnails, why our perhaps similar messages, besides everything else that I'm about to point out, why our perhaps similar messages are received differently. As somebody who has a whole media degree and at one point wanted to be a comedy writer, her tone is comedic. You can just tell from the title. Whereas my tone was, sort of battling through the depths of hell and trying to balance out, the insecurities that I felt. If you've seen the video, you've seen the video. So I think really tone is everything when it comes to attracting an audience and what people think of you. And if I'd wanted to come out with the hee ha-has about the situation, I obviously could have, but I didn't. That's not what I was feeling at the time. I was actually extremely sad about it. Because we were in the middle of a pandemic. I was realizing that, I had spent years dating in a city where I wasn't valued as a woman. And I had possibly spent up all of my childbearing years in that place. And I just had wished that maybe people found me more attractive. Maybe that would have made it easier. So definitely, though, I'm not saying that we're saying the exact same thing in the exact same way. You are always going to attract more flies with honey instead of with vinegar. And I think she is a perfect example of that. People want to listen to her say these things because she's funny. She's witty. It's interesting and cute the way that she presents these things. And actually, when you click on the video and you watch it, she's incredibly insightful and intelligent. And so, I'm not a dummy. I do understand why the two things are interpreted differently, but I just wanted to point out that we do talk about similar things, as do most women of color, especially most Black women of color who find themselves emoting
and
on the internet.
Her audience, for the most part, the reaction to her for the most part is extremely positive. There are people all over TikTok that stitch her videos and they have nothing but really kind things to say. And they're like, thank you for speaking up for us. I think in a lot of ways she benefits from something called in-group bias, where a group of people have basically decided that, hey, you're one of us and whatever you say about our experience goes. For example, there was a young woman who made a video. Her name is Kiara Bro. She made a video and she said that, and I talked about that one before on this channel, but she basically said that whenever women wear makeup, whenever they invest in their appearance, whenever they do their skincare routines, all they're doing is decorating their cage. People were pissed off. The cancel Kiara was the vibe that people were experiencing. And then lip gloss came through and she made a video. And she was basically like, hey, isn't everybody tired of doing their makeup all the time? Of having to do their hair all the time? All these workout routines, like have to be the right body, but it's really tiring. And I think I'm just gonna stop doing it. Yeah, I don't think it's worth it anymore. I think if I was really to think about it, it's not because I want to do it. It's because society, like it was a very similar message. But when she said it, there were people posting her all over Twitter. One lady was like, the way she's right. And I saw somebody write in the comments of that particular video from Lip Gloss, they said, isn't that what that Kiara girl was saying? And the consensus was Kiara could not say it because as a lighter skinned individual with a looser hair texture, she was the beauty standard. And she automatically benefited from, being beautiful in society without having to participate in these systems. And so she doesn't have the right to criticize people who have to do that to gain visibility. Whereas people were inadvertently saying by co-signing Lip Gloss's video, hey, we understand you don't benefit from the beauty standard. So if you don't want to do it anymore, what a free thing to do. What a free thinking thing to do. Because a lot of times people that don't benefit from the beauty standard feel the pressure even more to have to participate in those systems in order to gain that visibility. And not that I'm saying that this young woman isn't beautiful. I'm just saying that there is a societal standard of beauty that most people would say Kiara fits, that lip gloss doesn't fit. And please remember that societal standards of beauty are subjective and a lot of times they are bullshit. So that being said, I have talked about her before. I feel like she is in a great place. She reminds me of myself like 20 years ago with a lot of the things that she's talking about. Her emergent ideas about, her natural hair, her emergent ideas about who will find her desirable, her emergent ideas about how to conduct herself in society. They're all things that I think women go through, specifically a certain type of woman, specifically a certain type of Black woman. And so when I look at a lot of her content, I'm like, man, if I had a phone in 2002, man, I don't know where I might be. But this particular video from her really shook me up because, again, like I said, she was pretty privileged. She made a video. And while the contents of the video, in my opinion, were innocuous, and while she wasn't saying anything brand new that had never been said before, for whatever reason, people picked this up. The people in this situation were Black men who felt that she was blighting them with her statements. They picked this up and they proceeded to launch basically it's cyberbullying campaign against this young woman. And it was traumatizing to watch unfold the way that they went about doing that. Kimberly Foster, she is a YouTuber and culture commenter, and her reach is much farther than mine. So she's already made a video about this that has like over 100,000 views by now, by the time I upload mine. And so I'll link her video below if you haven't seen it. She goes into the details and has the clips from Lip Gloss's videos, so on and so forth, where she talks about like exactly what happened. But for me, what I wanted to talk about is, why do we consistently invalidate people's realities? Why as a community, why as a Black community, why as an internet community, do we consistently tell people your truth is not a truth just because it might be an inconvenient truth? And when I saw what happened with Lip Gloss, I said, I don't think she necessarily needs me to come to her defense, because unlike what happened to me last summer, there's a ton of people that have already done that. There's a ton of videos out there. There's a ton of stitches where people are like, hey, you're not going to do this to our girl like this. No. But I would like to fortify her narrative with several narratives of my own. A few weeks ago, a YouTuber that I follow named Tiffany Ferguson uploaded a video where she was like, YouTube is really dry right now. Like everybody's kind of doing the same thing. And I think that's especially true if you fall into a certain niche. And so me being a Black woman of a certain age, there are things that I'm going to talk about that I know have already been covered by lots of other people. There are things that I'm going to talk about that other people will talk about, and they'll get tons more views than I do. And so I was thinking, I was like, well, what different take or opinion can I bring to this issue that's already been dissected so much by the time I upload my video? And that's just it. I have lived these experiences. When that young woman in her video said, with my natural hair, I can only date white men, I've lived that experience. I've lived being completely invisible to Black men with a twist out, with Afro kinky twist, with my hair completely shaved bald, completely invisible. And I've lived white men going out of their way to get to know me. And so if somebody's saying, oh, well, you're a liar, I've got stories on stories on stories. But I've also lived other experiences. And I think it's important to talk about the ones that do not support what she was saying, because so often when Black women talk about their experiences dating, the rescue, the lifesaver that's thrown out to them is, well, you just got to get a man outside of your race. And that's not always true. Black women can definitely face bias in any community because, well, that's what systemic oppression does. You don't escape it just because you talk to people that are of a different race, especially the people that are the reason why, well, their ancestors at least, are the reason why the systemic oppression exists in the first place. But I'll get to that in a moment. So the first thing I want to talk about, though, is, let's say you're watching this video and you're not a Black woman. Why is natural hair so important? Why do we keep going back to this conversation? Because it's not a new conversation. When I saw that there were criticisms out there about me, people saying, oh, well, she doesn't want to wear natural hair. She's anti-Black. She's anti-Blackness. She doesn't wear natural hair. She's chasing the white gaze. Not only were the people that were saying it, they were teething or maybe not even thought of. Maybe they weren't even fetuses when I first went natural. I realized that natural hair in the Black community, a lot of times for a lot of people, still symbolizes the most evolved and the most aware of your Blackness that you can possibly be. And I want to attribute that to the thinking that started, I'm going to say it started back in the 1960s. You can disagree with me if you want. But there's this wonderful clip that was floating around TikTok and floating around the internet, period, back in 2020. And it's of Kathleen Cleaver. And she was a civil rights activist. And she's describing why Black people in the 1960s, after years of doing perms and flat ironing their hair and trying to make themselves as close to whiteness as possible, why they were finally changing their minds and deciding to wear their hair natural.
All of us were born with our hair like this, and we just wear it like this because it's natural, because the reason for it, you might say, is like a new awareness among Black people that their own natural appearance, physical appearance is beautiful and it's pleasing to them. For so many years, we were told that only white people were beautiful. Only straight hair, light eyes, light skin was beautiful. And so Black women would try everything they could, straighten their hair, lighten their skin, to look as much like white women. But this has changed because Black people are aware. And white people are aware of it too, because white people now want natural wigs. They want wigs like this. Dig it? Isn't it beautiful? All right.
So as you can see from that clip, it's not a new idea to say, I'm wearing my hair natural, and in that decision, I am declaring that my Blackness is good, that it is beautiful, that I do not need to be, approximate to whiteness to be a valid human being. And I think that a lot of people take that idea and they run with it and they say, okay, well, but if you're not doing your hair like this, if you decide to do anything different, then that means you're denying your Blackness. And that conversation has ebbed and flowed over the years. I was never one who thought that way because I didn't go natural because I was standing tall in my Blackness. I went natural because it was the best decision for my hair at the time. I was 18 years old and I had lived with my hair constantly breaking under perms. I was seeing what was happening with women in my family, the older women in my family, what happened to their hair over time. And I decided that I didn't want that to be my hair's future. Also, I was working at a seafood restaurant. And I walked up to a lady and gave them their waters or whatever. And I saw her hair and I was like, oh my God, your hair is so beautiful. She's a Black woman. And she was like, oh, okay, well, these are called 2-strand twists. And I said, well, how do you do that? And she said, oh, well, when it's wet, she says, I don't have a perm. And I was like, okay. And she said, when it's wet, I take 2 strands, I twist it. And sometimes I wear it like this. Or sometimes I take it out and I have what's called a twist out. And that woman changed my life with that conversation. And so for me, natural hair has always been a choice related to the health of my hair. I'm not going to sit up here and pretend like it's not a hassle to do sometimes. And so therefore, I don't judge other people for saying, you know what, there's enough of this. I'm going to go back to getting a perm. For me, it was never about, asserting like, this is my Blackness and this is who I am. I am beautiful. I am Black. I always believed that. I knew that the world thought differently, but I always believed I was beautiful. I was good enough. And I think that was why I felt brave enough to do what I did with my hair at the time that I did it. Because back in 2002, we didn't have natural hair YouTube. Back in 2002, there were no hair influence. Back in 2002, there wasn't even, what was even on the market? I think I used Pantene Pro V to wash my hair. All these new hair products, all these new things, that didn't exist back then. When I decided to go natural, it was completely a decision of what's better for the health of my hair. And honestly, since I went natural, I have had longer hair. I've had shorter hair. I've been completely bald 2 times. My hair very much grows and flows with me in the different stages of my life. And as far as, how I wear my hair when I get here on YouTube, I was thinking about it the other day and I was like, yeah, this is probably the closest I'm going to get to an actual media career. So for me, trying on different wigs and doing different things, it's like hair and makeup. It's like, let's put on a show. It's fun. I think as a Black woman, transformation is my birthright. We have gone through so much because of the world's insistence upon trying to convince us that we are not enough, that we've become brilliant engineers of appearance, of perception. Oh, you'll respect me more if I present myself this way? Well, look what I can do. And so, for me, I'm like, challenge accepted. I'll try the different things because they're out there to try. But my hair has never been to me a outright symbol of how I feel about myself and my Blackness. It is a part of me and I am good, so it is good. But for a lot of people, that's not true. For a lot of people, wearing your natural hair is the ultimate symbol that you have accepted your Blackness. And so that's why the conversation never goes away. And that's why it's so exciting sometimes, especially for young women who have grown up in environments where, texturism reigns supreme. And if you don't know what texturism is, it is the preference of looser hair textures that are closer to whiteness over kinkier hair textures. And so growing up with that sort of always looming overhead, when you finally decide to step out and to do things with your hair and to make your own rules, it can be just a really, really brilliant and exciting period of time in your life. And so I totally understood why she was making those videos and why she was saying, hey, and I mean, do I always have to twist it out? And do I have to do this? And do I have to do that? No, you can do whatever you want. I think everybody had the issue when she decided to say, okay, well, when I do this, though, it'll change who I'm attracted to, especially when she claimed that in her most natural state as a Black woman, the people who would reject her the most were Black men. And to that, I want to ask a question. Why are we still pretending that that's not true? Black men, a lot of times, are the biggest oppressors when it comes to desirability and Black women. There is an interview. I'm going to link it below. And I'm not going to play it here because of copyright, but this interview is from, I believe it's from the 1960s or early 70s. And there is a group of Black thought leaders, professors, speakers, and they are discussing Black men's attitudes towards Black women when it comes to dating, when it comes to marriage. This is in the 1960s and 70s. And this woman is speaking. These people are speaking. And they're talking about it like it's something that's been going on for years. That was 50 years ago, 50, 60 years ago. And the gist of the conversation is Black men see themselves at the bottom of the social hierarchy, and they see other women and other people closer to the top. And being at the bottom of the social hierarchy means everything about you is at the bottom. It means your skin, your hair, your body, your family, the woman you came from. And so if you want to rise in society, then you've got to figure out a way to get out of the bottom. And it starts with the way that you look. And maybe you can't fix yourself, but if you go get yourself a partner who's going to change the way your offspring look, well, you can fix it for them. And these people are talking about this, like I said, this is 60s and 70s. A few weeks ago, I saw this on TikTok as well. An old interview from Eartha Kitt resurfaced. And in this interview, she had this to say about her relationship with Black men at the time.
So Eartha faced a lot of backlash because when she did get married, she married a white man. So she was asked, do you think you faced a lot of resentment just because you were married to a white man? And she says, oh, yes, that caused the resentment. I was married to Bill McDonald in 1960. People would say, well, why didn't you marry a Black man? I would reply, because the white girls had them. The men I wanted to be with, Sidney Poitier, Harry Belafonte, dated predominantly white women. I'm talking about the 50s. When Harry Belafonte picks me out of his bed in Philadelphia and said, I don't want you to take me seriously because no Black woman can do anything for me, I could not help him to progress into where he was going to go. A Black woman would hold a Black man back. That's what he told me. If I wanted to marry a Black man, there wasn't one because the white girls had them.
A couple of days ago, this clip showed up on to TikTok. And I believe this is Vlad from Vlad TV. People have discriminating opinions about him, but it is what it is. And he is interviewing a young man. I have no idea who this is. I will put his name on the screen. But this is what this young man had to say about how he feels when it comes to the women that he can date.
I ain't gonna lie. What he say? I'm already black. I don't need no black bitch.
Right, that's what he said.
So yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I can't have no cut. Like, I know if I'm fucking with you, I'm black as fuck, right? I'm black as shit.
Yeah, black is beautiful though, man.
So I know if I fuck with a black bitch, we gonna have a black ass baby.
So?
I ain't with that.
Why?
'Cause I'm already black as fuck.
So?
I can't. No.
Well, I mean, this is an interesting thing. You know what I mean? Like, so if you have a baby, you don't want your baby to be the same complexion as you?
Mm.
Why?
This a once in a lifetime thing.
What do you mean?
Like, this a dark ass shade. They be hell nah. I can't have.
Is your mom same shade as you?
Nah.
She's
Hell
not.
nah. I'm like caramel mocha.
Okay, so your dad is darker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nah, that's what? You talking about I'm black. You see that boy.
So your dad is actually darker.
Yeah.
Okay. Has your mom ever said that she doesn't want her grandkids to be?
Nah.
There are so many people, so many black women who have been in situations where our own men have told us, you are not good enough. You are not good enough because you represent the bottom of society. Keep in mind, that ranking is the result of systemic oppression. It is a subjective ranking. It is only true if you believe in it.
Okay, really quickly. We all know that oppression exists, whether or not you believe in it or not. Here I was referring more to the fact of sort of taking it in for yourself, kind of like, the things I talk about when I talk about the politics of desirability or pretty privilege or whatever. Like, I know, oh, hey, this group of people might think of me this way, but when I value myself or when I evaluate myself, I don't think of myself in the same terms as they do. And so what I'm saying here is, in my opinion, what happens with black men is they take in these messages and they take this messaging in, and instead of rejecting it, and not all black men, let me make that clear, not all black men, but you do have a number of them who will take this messaging and take this in, and instead of saying, okay, well, that's how the world thinks of us, but this is how we value ourselves in our community, they will then take that messaging and say, okay, well, how can we not be a part of that? I need to be better than that judgment, than that ranking. And that means that I can't procreate with a certain type of woman. That means that I can't date a certain type of woman because I want this social clout. So instead of using the opportunity to, sort of reject and then reflect back into the world stronger opinions of yourself and your people, what instead we see is accepting these labels, accepting this negativity, and then spewing it out onto whomever reminds them of this criticism, which in a lot of cases is black women.
But they really, really believe in it. And whether or not they take that belief and they turn it into who they allow to get into the VIP section at a club, whether they take it to who they allow to be in a music video, whether they take it to who they will allow themselves to date. That's why I never want to judge anybody for their preference when they're dating, because I know myself, I've dated interracially, and it's never been for hypergamous reasons. It's never been because I think the white man is here to save me. And it's never been because I want my kid to have good hair. It's been because at the time that person matched my energy. And so what I try and do, and because I understand it to be true as well, is anytime I see an interracial couple, I say, perhaps they were the best match for each other at the time. But because I also know that black men do think, a lot of them do think, like the examples I've just presented, I can't help but raise an eyebrow and wonder if their preference is really just prejudice, especially when I see so many of them come out on social media and say, well, I don't like black women for this, and I don't like black women for this, and I don't do this, and I don't do that. Is it your preference because you really, really just, have a great experience with this particular person? Or are you making a concentrated attempt to isolate a certain group away because of your own inferiority issues? Which is it? When I talk about my experience with natural hair, earlier I said I have experienced what lip gloss was talking about as far as white men being more excited, white men being more into it. When it comes to me and black men, though, and my natural hair, to be honest with you, I've never really gotten compliments when it comes to Black men about my hair. Have they complimented me about other things? Sure. But there have been particular instances in my life where I knew that if I want to compete for the attention of a Black man, I cannot come in with a TWA. I cannot come in with my kinky hair not stretched out. And even if I do stretch it out and put it in a twist out, a lot of them don't like that. It's got to be straight or very near to straight. And if it's going to have any kind of kink, that kink need to be a curl. A couple years ago, I went to Chicago with some friends. And they were both lighter skinned. One was biracial and one had like her mom was Spanish and Black. So they were both lighter skinned. And they both had straight hair. This was, I say a couple years ago, but this was 2009. So good God, I'm old. But I went with them to Chicago. And at the time, my hair was growing back from me shaving it all off. And so it was, you know, it was shorter, but we in here. And so what I used to do is just my little 2-strand twists. And so I would wash it, condition it, twist it up at night, and then during the day, let it out and go out. And the first night I went out in Chicago, I'm walking around with these 2 girls. They're getting stopped every which way. They are hey, can I talk to you? Hey, can I talk to you? Hey, Lama, hey, how are y'all? It was like I was a ghost. I was not there. I felt so badly about myself. Not only that, but my feet really, really hurt. I was wearing these shoes from this store called Charlotte Russe. I don't even know if it exists anymore, but my feet hurt so badly. And I was in pain and I was like limping and I just went silent. And they were like, what's wrong with you? Why do you have such an attitude? Please be more aware. If you see your friend being completely excluded, no one's talking to her and she's limping, draw some conclusions, man. But I said, you know, the next night, that's not happening to me. So I brought a wig with me to go out in. I put it on. Totally different experience. Totally different experience. Totally different experience. Once I was sitting at a table with a friend. We were at like a brewery and I was sitting at a table and I was wearing a wig. I think if I have the picture, I'll put it up here. And this man came literally running across the street. And he goes, oh my God, you're so beautiful. He said, you know what's most beautiful about you? Your hair. I love your hair so much. I love your hair. And I was just listening to him. I was like, okay. And he said, it's not like mine. You don't have this nappy shit like this. You got. And finally, I was like, sir, this is a wig. And he was like, oh, okay. All right, you ladies have a good meal. And he walked away. I have those stories. And so because I have those stories, I know what she was talking about it's not wrong. She's not lying. She was not lying. And what I think a lot of times happens with when, in her case in particular, is when Black men hear things like that. They hear somebody say, well, only white men will be interested in me. Black men don't like this kind of thing. They hear an attack on them as a group of people instead of somebody highlighting a very real social problem. You have an entire group of women that oftentimes grow up in this world feeling completely unlovable and unseen because they're taking in the messages that are being constantly fed to them. 1 + 1 is equaling 2 here, people. And I look at this and I recognize that, okay, these men are obviously, they're suffering from cognitive bias. And for me, I was looking at it and I was like, it's confirmation bias and attentional bias. And either way, it's flawed thinking. Instead of hearing what she's saying, we're going to attack her. We're going to do what they did to her, which was, I'm going to say a little bit worse than how people reacted to me. And if you know, you know, and if you don't, I'll just let you know. They ended up taking her information and putting it on an app, a dating app, taking her picture and pictures of her body and putting it on a dating app. And she got matches from Black men to prove her wrong. But I wanted to say, as somebody who's been a longtime user of dating apps, your matches on a dating app don't actually equal the men who are actually going to do the work to talk to you. Matches on a dating app also are not equal to real life. I can go on a dating app and have 100 matches in an hour. I can go out in real life and maybe one man speaks to me. There's very little risk on a dating app. Very little risk. And most men on dating apps, they just swipe for anybody and then they wait to see who is going to talk to them to make their actual decisions. And once I did a little social experiment myself, or I've done social experiments myself where I've uploaded myself with different hair onto dating apps and seen what the result is. And ultimately, it's always been better when I've either uploaded it with like a straight wig or I've done, hair like this, like in this picture. It's better. It's ultimately better. I also once, this is back when I first started online dating, and I had a friend of mine and she was having a much easier time. She was like, oh, I'm meeting someone and they're talking to me, they're doing this and that. And I was like, I'm having a really hard time. I wonder, So I looked up a picture of a girl. I chose a brunette, girl next door person, and I put her on. Long story short, I went from getting maybe one little, message a week, one little, someone looked at your profile, to I sat there and that particular Friday night got message after message after message after message after message. Hey, want to go out? Hey, what are you doing tonight? Hey, oh my God, you're so. There is an absolute standard of desirability that rears its ugly head both online and off. And when women step forward and they say, hey, this is my experience with it and this is my story, believe them. Believe them. Now, I do want to say, in regards to what she said about dating white men or white men loving the hair, while I have had white men that have been very into my hair in all its incarnations, I've also had white men in my life tell me things like, I came to school one time and I had taken my hair out, done a little twist out, and this guy asked me, and I had taken it out of braids, and I think it was like a spring break thing. Like it was in braids before spring break, and then when I went back to school, it was out, and I had like done it myself. He looked at me, blonde hair, blue eyed white guy. He looked at me and with his whole chest asked me, why would I change my hair? And I said, oh, well, I had braids, it was time to take them out. And then he goes, but why do you insist on looking like buckwheat? That's what this white man said to me with his entire chest. I've had white men say to me, you know what? I do like black women, but I only like lighter skinned, like biracial looking black women. So yeah. I literally had to tell a white guy back in 2006, you do not get to say you prefer a mulatta. This is not a plantation. You don't get to talk that way. And he was so confused and offended. That was 2006. I think it's very dangerous, if I haven't said already in this video, to, look at any particular race of man. And I mean this for anybody that throws this suggestion at black women when black women talk about their dating life, to look at any particular race of man and be like, he's going to be perfect to you. He's not going to disappoint me. A man can be a good man in any color. And a man is not more likely to be a good man just because he's not black. And you have so many stories of young black women that go to predominantly white universities, young black women who live in predominantly white towns, young black people that live in predominantly white towns. For example, this poor young man here who talked about how Austin, the city I'm currently in, is so lonely for black people. And it's such a hard city to date in. Black people face bias in any dating community. We do. That is a result of systemic oppression and racism. We face bias. We do. No one racial group is going to give us the freedom and love we desire automatically. We got to take everybody on a case-by-case basis. But I always, always, always advocate for young women to try, because you never know. You never know what you might find. And black women are the only race of women in America that can't automatically count on our men to choose us first. And that is a reality that until we really start accepting that as a people, full stop, you're going to continue to have situations like poor Lip Gloss, who spoke her truth and was completely annihilated for it by a group of people that would rather just look good and save face and protect their egos than honor what this young woman was saying and do their best as young men in their communities to make sure young women don't feel like that anymore. Again, like I said, there's tons of takes about this already online, and I haven't necessarily said anything new. But I think one thing I can bring to the conversation that maybe other people can't is I know what it's like to speak your truth and for people to take you and make fun of you and call you out when the whole time you were right. You were right. And so what I want to say now and I've never said it before, because I think I always do try and play nice, maybe, I don't know. But I want to say now, if you are the type of person that when somebody says, this is what I've experienced, this is my truth, and they can prove it with evidence, you still want to invalidate them and say, no, well, it's because no. I want you to listen, and I want you to listen close. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. Thanks for watching.